Hi, welcome to Unspoken History. My name is Keisha. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to read about the Black Panthers. I didn't learn much about them growing up either, except, that it must have been something bad because they were, police was chasing them, shooting at them, and getting into, scuffles with them. It was always as if they were doing something wrong. But I wasn't born when this was happening. I found out about it later. So, and to this day, I still hear the same stories, that they were communists, that they wanted to, whatever. So, anyway, let's find out the truth. This is the Berkeley Revolution. This is from Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley. The Black Panthers Education Revolution. In schools, newspapers, and popular culture, the Black Panthers are often presented as armed radicals. Images of 65 community survival programs that the Panthers created in Oakland, among them a free clinic, vibrant community learning center, a busing for seniors program, and one of the most impactful, long lasting of these programs was the Oakland Community School, an elementary school in the Fruitvale neighborhood of East Oakland. At the Oakland Community School, students were nourished in body and mind. They were provided with 3 meals a day, encouraged by teachers who were fellow people of color, and taught to become critical thinkers who were engaged with their community and its history. It says the materials we've gathered provided valuable insight into the evolution of the Panther School, from the Children's House into the Intercommunal Youth Institute, and later into the Oakland Community School. Okay, and then Berkeley has another article. It says discredit, disrupt, and destroy. The FBI records acquired by the library reveal violent surveillance of Black leaders and civil rights organizations. In the late 1960s, J. Edgar Hoover spelled trouble, the status quo hallowed by hate, sanctioned by Jim Crow, was beginning to crack. Behind the scenes, Hoover's Federal Bureau of Investigation was keeping watch. In 1967, the FBI quietly unleashed a covert surveillance program targeting subversive civil rights groups and Black leaders, including the Black Panther Party, Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King Jr., Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, and many others. The objective, according to the FBI memo, memo to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the radical fight for Black rights. Neutralize the radical fight for Black rights. So, neutralize the fight for rights and Black power. Details of that sabotage plastered internal FBI records with thousands of pages scattered across a medley of databases. Now, the UC Berkeley Library is working to put those pieces together. In May, just before the movement for Black Lives cascaded over the planet, the library acquired a digital database of FBI records on the surveillance of African Americans throughout the 20th century. Expanding the trove of federal records the library has assembled over the years, today the material provide not only a window into the FBI's past abuse, but also an unplanned guide for the Black activists demanding racial justice again, now 50 years later. These documents reveal and confirm the kind of root investment in anti-Blackness and quelling dissent that has long been part of our government structure, says Leah Radford, a professor of African American Studies at UC Berkeley. We can only imagine the extent to which the current administration and the current FBI is working to discredit, disrupt, and destroy Black Lives Matters and other movements. I'm hoping that a new generation of researchers will learn new lessons on how to outmaneuver these attempts. It says, one of the biggest lessons contained in the document is abundantly clear. Whatever you do, don't let them think you're a communist, because all they had to do was say that group is a communist. No proof at all. And then they started treating them like communists. No holds were barred, said Assistant FBI Director William C. Sullivan in his testimony for the U.S. Senate Church Committee. As recorded in documents held by the library and freely available on digital repository HathiTrust, we have used these techniques against Soviet agents, and they have used them against us. We do not differentiate, Sullivan said. This is a rough, tough business. The FBI surveillance of African American and Black rights organizations, whom the FBI called Black extremists or Black nationalist hate groups, grew out of the Bureau's larger espionage operation known as Cointelpro, the now infamous program launched in 1956 to snuff out communism. So all they had to do was that group's a communist, those groups are communists, and they're in trouble. Truth or not. Never mind that there were Black people fighting for their lives. Okay, in Hoover's view, it went something like this. There were communists in the civil rights movement. Never mind that. There were Black people fighting for their lives. The threat of communism became a way in which to undermine Black radical movement, says Ula Taylor, a campus professor of African American Studies, who used underground newspapers held by the library and FBI surveillance records on the Nation of Islam for her book, The Promise of Patriarchy, Women and the Nation of Islam. All of these Black organizations understood that the way in which the federal government could take down their organization was by painting them red. All right. It says one of the primary targets of COINTELPRO's fear mongering was the Black Panther Party, the revolutionary Black rights group founded in Oakland in 1966. Just 2 years later, Hoover called the Panthers the greatest threat to internal security of the country. So people fighting for their rights, we're not going to say Black, people, American citizens fighting for their rights is a threat to the internal security of the country. Because I believe that Black people fighting for their rights mean that. But anyway, let's keep writing. Let's keep reading. The FBI responded in full force, spreading ominous rumors to incite the group to violence and even murder. As the library's documents show, when conflict arose between the Black Panther Party and the U.S. organization, another Black power group, FBI officials directed field officers to exploit all avenues of creating further dissension and to submit regular reports on the imaginative and hard-hitting counterintelligence measures. Imaginative, hard-hitting counterintelligence measures aimed at crippling the Black Panther Party. They sent a fake letter from the US organization, the other Black Power group, to the Black Panthers, warning that US planned to ambush leaders of the Black Panther Party in Los Angeles. As noted in 1968 memo in the library's database. So they made it up, started some trouble between the two organizations. Then we can come break it up, be the saviors, put the bad guys in jail and whatnot. It says, it's difficult when you have some of this vitriol and nastiness, Silva says. We want to collect that because that's how society is going to grow. By shining a light on this and saying, is this what we want to be? Or do we want to be something better? I think it's too late. The new collection acquired from Gale, an educational publisher and online database, contained not only COINTELPRO records, but also the surveillance files of many important Black figures and organizations of the day, including Thurgood Marshall, Marcus Garvey, the NAACP, and many others. Fast forward to 2020, and the hypocrisy is still rampant. COINTELPRO operations officially ended in the 1970s when an FBI office was burglarized and details of the program were exposed to the public. But its legacy is alive and well. In 2017, amid widespread Black Lives Matter Black Lives Matter protests. A leaked report from the FBI counterterrorism unit defined the security threat posed by so-called black identity extremists. What is the threat? What's the security threat? They're saying, give us our rights. And you're saying that's a threat to internal security. We have to start anyway. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You can keep right on doing what you're doing. Last year, leaked documents obtained by the left-wing news group The Young Turks exposed an FBI operation titled Iron Fist, designed to proactively address this priority domestic terrorism target by focusing FBI operations via enhanced intelligence collection efforts, including the use of undercover agents. So they're using your tax dollars to surveil American citizens. They're going to use your tax dollars to surveil you also, according to WikiLeaks. They're already surveilling everybody. They're already in everybody's laptop, cell phone, iWatch, iClock, whatever you got, smart TV, pulling data and watching everything that we do. They're already doing it. And when we found out about WikiLeaks, did they say, oh, we're not going to do that anymore? That's not what they said. They tried to kill the people that they probably did kill one of them or two, who knows. But then the guy had to go and run to another country. They didn't come out and say, oh, we're sorry we were, surveilling you and didn't mean to do that. No, we ain't got no rights and neither do anybody else. That Constitution got left back there 200 and something years ago. Or how long ago? Let's see, 1865, 1965. Okay, not quite. 160 years ago. Okay. All right. So it says last year, leaked documents obtained by the left-wing group, the Young Turks, exposed the FBI operation called Iron Fist. All right. It says, we know that the extent to which the government has worked to destroy Black rights organizations and is continuing to do that work, as we're seeing with the Movement for Black Lives, writing them off as terrorist organizations, Bradford said. But the fight looks a little different this time around, she says, with detailed records of the FBI's abuses on full display. A new generation of Black activists can stay one step ahead. Well, just because people know don't mean that something's going to happen. That don't mean anything. Let's see what the ACLU had to say. It says leaked FBI documents raise concern about targeting Black people under Black identity extremists and newer labels. These documents show the FBI wasted resources to target Black people because of protected First Amendment activities. So they were just exercising their First Amendment right. And that sparked a national emergency to contain these people trying to fight for their rights. Understand? I'm trying to understand. These documents show the FBI wasted resources to target Black people because of protected First Amendment rights. The Black Identity Extremist label is baseless, and earlier this year, Bureau Director Ray testified that the label is no longer in use. But based on these documents, it appears that the FBI simply renamed the label. Even more, the documents show the Bureau implemented a program titled Iron Fist to target department resources on spying, surveilling, and investigating Black activists, including through undercover agents. Just spending up all y'all's money. There is no indication that Iron Fist or any other programs used to target Black people for surveilling have been dismantled. So they just say, oh, you found out? Oh, that's horrible. They shouldn't be doing that. And they go back to doing what they were doing. Same thing. Nothing changes. It says, instead, these documents suggest that the FBI under Trump continues to prioritize criminalizing Black dissent while minimizing the threat of white supremacy, said Stephen Renderos, co-director of Media Justice. The ACLU and Media Justice will continue to fight to expose this targeting of Black people for surveillance. Through our lawsuit under the Freedom of Information Act. We also call on Congress to use every tool at their disposal to ensure that the FBI revokes and takes steps to correct the harms caused by these groundless designations. Um, it says the ACLU and Media Justice filed the FOIA request demanding information on the FBI's 2017 intelligence assessment titled Black Identity Extremists, likely motivated by target law enforcement officers. The intelligence assessment provides no evidence of the existence of a group of so-called Black identity extremists. It appears to wrongly group together Black people who, in the FBI's own words, perceive racism and injustice in American society. What? It says the intelligence assessment provides no evidence of the existence of a group of so-called Black identity extremists and appears to wrongly group together Black people who, in the FBI's own words, perceive racism and injustice in American society. So if you someone that perceives that there's racism and injustice in American society, then you can be labeled a Black identity extremist. When the FBI entirely refused to search for certain records and disclosed only heavily redacted documents in response to one portion of the FOIA request, the ACLU and Media Justice filed an FOIA lawsuit in March of this year. The ACLU, Media Justice, and 10 other organizations, including Black Alliance for Just Immigration, Media Mobilizing Project, and the Empower Change, have also called on Congress to investigate and release information regarding the BIE designation and how it's being used. Mm, mm, mm. You won't believe it unless you read it. You won't believe it unless you read it. So there's some other there's a video I heard. It's an old video of J.D. Vance before he was vice president. He was still the senator of Ohio. And he is talking about the IRS was being used to target conservative groups. So any of these groups that was speaking out against whoever was in office at the time, they were being denied their nonprofit status. They were being harassed, all kind of stuff. And then after it was brought to light that these things were happening to these people, then they said, oh, that's not happening anymore. And 3 years later, it's still 3, 4, 5. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been longer than 3 years. Okay. It's still happening. They're still struggling. They're still trying to get their status back and all this stuff. So their IRS could be weaponized. The FBI could be weaponized. Everything could be weaponized against the people. So anyway, that's a short story of the Black Panthers. I'm going to add another video that kind of is. So these are going to go into the same playlist, which is either America in Prophecy or the prophecies of our founders or something like that. I don't know, but it'll be in a playlist with all of them together. This one, the video with J.D. Vance. There's another video called the Panama Papers, and then there's one called the what is it called? Let me see. It's the Panama Papers, and because that's the one about. Oh, and then the Norwood investigation or something like that. What is it called? It's called no, not that one. Oh, Operation Northwoods. Operation Northwoods. So I'm gonna play a video about that. It was a plan to kill American citizens so they could start a war with Cuba. Mm, mm, mm. Lord help us. But anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. See you next video.